I'm Lyle Henley, owner and operator of the Athlete Factory, where we specialize in performance enhancement training for top-level athletes. We are constantly researching ways for our athletes to take their training to the next level through cutting-edge exercise techniques that give them an advantage in their field of competition. We're going to show you today how the GyroGym has helped us to maximize certain areas of training techniques we use with our athletes. We all know that the GyroGym is an outstanding post-rehab fitness device. We all know the GyroGym is great for spinal decompression and is a great way to break up the monotony of fat burning and cardiovascular training. What we'd like to show you today is how the GyroGym can be used as a specific tool of training in a sport-specific training environment. Anytime we're training a specific movement, we want to make sure we have mastered the ability to properly activate and apply the muscles used in our particular movement. An area that we feel the GyroGym gives us an extreme advantage in training is the ability to activate our specific muscles in our core while in an engaged position. The GyroGym locks you in a position that forces you to rely on your core and stabilizing muscles to move you in a 360-degree plane. We will start off by showing you how we teach athletes to stay in a base of support athletic stance with low center of gravity. Here, Atlas Harrion, a 4-year NFL veteran, and Destin Hood, the 48th overall draft pick in last year's Major League Draft picked by the Washington Nationals, will demonstrate this. Notice how they are not overcommitted to one certain direction. The GyroGym helps train this by making the athlete constantly keep your center mass stable. It also helps you to identify your base of support. Here, Atlas is in an engaged position pass rush. During this engagement, he must be a master of keeping his center of gravity and base of support even. This gives him an extreme advantage in the leverage department. We have found that the GyroGym is one of the best tools in training you to direct your center of gravity in one direction and then quickly redirect it in another, as Atlas is doing here. The same movements are shown here with an even greater demand on force and run blocking. The GyroGym will force you to identify and then improve these movements by focusing directly in on these specific areas of hips, glutes, and the core. Let's look at another area that is activated when you're engaged, the muscles of the upper back, shoulders, wrist, and forearm. Here, 7-year UFC veteran Rich Clemente and 185-pound FFI middleweight champ Jimmy Mills work on leverage and body control drills that put them at a high demand of control on areas we just mentioned. When using the GyroGym, you must have great control and strength in the upper back, wrist, forearm, and shoulders to be able to redirect the device and keep it moving. I really like the way the machine forces you to do this. Here, Rich and Showtime XTC veteran JC Pennington work some ground wrestling drills. These drills require great core strength for control and fluidity and also are very anaerobically taxing. When the body starts to break down, their technique breaks down, allowing them to be at a disadvantage. We cannot allow this to happen to our athletes. Training on the GyroGym allows us to tap into an area where we will not break down easily. Locking into the GyroGym forces us into a position where we use great technique and repetitive motion, thus building up our lactic acid threshold. Notice here how Destin and Atlas must hold a base of support and control their center of gravity during the acceleration and the deceleration phase in a change of direction drill. The primary muscles used in these movement patterns are areas of focus while training on the GyroGym. Rotational power and dynamic mobility in the hips and shoulders are areas of focus that we train with MMA fighters and baseball players. Destin demonstrates the movement patterns needed during the swing phase in the hips, trunk, and shoulders. He demonstrates dynamic mobility in the hips and a great base of support needed for field play. The initiating movements in these patterns are all activated by muscles that can be isolated and trained on the GyroGym in a non-impact manner. Rich and JC demonstrate rotational power and dynamic mobility in the hips through a leg kick drill. Once again, if you strengthen the muscles that initiate the movement, such as your core, then your movements will have more velocity and power. The greatest advantage of training on the GyroGym is that it is a non-impact, high-intensity training device. The seasons are long and grueling in professional sports, and training camps for fights are even more brutal than the actual event itself. If I can find a way for my athlete to still set quality training and also take a break from the daily impact, I will incorporate it into my training regimen every time. The GyroGym does exactly this.